All right, welcome back to Sycamore 223. Today's February 19th. It's a Wednesday. It's another rainy Wednesday. We've been getting some crap weather here in February, but that's just Texas weather in a nutshell. Jesse, how you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing great. Anytime I can be surrounded by this much culture and class, I really can't fucking complain, you know? What about yourself? How's everything?
You know, it's good, man. It's good. Things are great. Yeah, I don't know. Don't have much to say on that front.
Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, you know.
The man of many words is speechless.
I'm not speechless. Things are good. Things are going well.
Right.
I'm happy in life.
You're cutting some fat checks, dude. You've been working with a meteoric fuck ton of clients, my guy.
You can only go up from here, and you can only continue to grow. You can only be grateful for what you have right in front of you and hope to further develop your client base and portfolio.
I dig that. Truly, I do dig that. All right, so Ryan, I told you this as we were exiting the business leadership building. Oh, it's no longer the business leadership building. It is the what is it? The Brent Ryan building.
Yeah, the Brent
leadership
Ryan
of
business
something
school
or another.
Something. Yeah.
UNT. I'm quitting smoking, my guy.
Quitting
Monday.
smoking.
I'm putting it on the pod.
Diet starts Monday.
Diet starts Monday. Quitting smoking.
Perfect.
No more nicotine. So next week when we're recording, I'm going to be the most irrationally angry and just biggest fucking thorn in your side.
So what brought
met.
about this, I guess, realization?
Dude, it's just like I said last time, if I start law school and I have not quit smoking, I will be smoking for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I will be addicted to nicotine for the rest of my life.
Nicotine's no joke. It's incredibly addictive.
You kicked it.
I've dabbled in the nicotine. I used to dip Red Man tobacco every single day, all day.
So how'd you kick it?
It's cold turkey, dude. Just stopped.
Wow, what a man. What
It,
an
just, well,
inspiration.
it was the environment as well. Like when I was in the Navy, everybody was doing it, and then when you get home, no one was really doing it. So it was like a strictly deployment thing. So I just happened to go on like 2 deployments in 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're just packing fat shoes every single day, crushing monsters, like the hardo Navy stereotype dictates. And once you get home and you're around like normal people,
Yeah.
and you go home on leave, and you're hanging with your guys from high school, and you're thinking like, man, if I put a fat shoe in right now, people are gonna really look at me.
I mean,
so you just kind of kick it.
We were walking to our cars after class today, and I like saw this dude walking past me smoking a cigarette. I'm like, what a fucking idiot. And I looked to my right hand. I'm like, oh, right. I can't say shit. I cannot say shit.
Yeah, nicotine's no joke. I'm happy to hear that you're quitting. Just don't quit and take up like vaping. Like that's a good alternative because it's all the same.
I always say it is worse to vape than it is to smoke cigarettes, just based on the lack of social awareness that comes with vaping.
So the vaping phenomenon, my take on that is that it's just the 21st century version of smoking cigarettes. And all these people that do it are fucking stupid because they already have a blueprint for how bad like ingesting nicotine and like smoke into your lungs is.
Right.
But they're just running it back like through whatever device.
I would like to say that I would rather walk through like a cloud of cigarette smoke than a cloud of vape smoke, but both are just repulsive.
I feel as though the vape smoke lingers more than cigarette smoke. Like when you blow out the cigarette smoke, it's kind of like an initial hit and then it goes away. But like that vape smoke lingers. It's like a foggy day.
I think vapors take pride in just like blowing fat clouds into people's face. Like passerbys like, dude, watch this. Watch me rip this fucking vape. We just blow it like directly in your face.
We had this guy in our fantasy football league. He's just like a character, and he was sitting on the couch all night long. He's got a big old belly. He's crushing White Claws and like blowing vape clouds. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, I can dig that. I respect that. Yeah. Just because you at that point you're just like, fuck it. Like, what can you say to me that can make me feel worse about myself?
It was funny, and then he accidentally drafted Aaron Jones, and then it totally worked out. So that was kind of annoying.
Accidentally.
God,
I feel like that.
I didn't mean to do that. And as commissioner, my response is like,
tough shit.
I'm also drunk as shit, so I don't know how to
then like
go
10
back
weeks
anyway.
later, it's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what you were doing. So the hot button issue, hot in the streets, I guess. Let's start here. Gun Girl is back in the news, and when we were talking about
Caitlin Bennett,
when we were talking about subject matter for the pod, we were going to lead in with, sports, and I was like, well, why don't we just kind of like distance ourselves a little bit and open up with this, because it's dominating social media. It's dominating the media cycle. Like, I was reading an article on Rolling Stone about it. So background, and you chime in whenever you feel appropriate. This chick, Caitlin Bennett, aka Gun Girl, she went to Kent State and she gained some infamy because she posed with an assault rifle in her her graduation picture.
Yeah, she even had some clever like pro-gun phrase in her hat. Like, it was a whole plan, like on a graduation cap, a whole plan, like statement about like open carry, open campus carry, the whole like very alt-right,
overly
conservative like gun person,
right?
Who thinks that it.
She gets famous on Twitter. I guess develops sort of a cult following, and relatively, I don't want to say like harmless, because the shit she does is just like is repulsive. Mm-hmm. And if you're not familiar with her stuff, what she does basically is she's famous for these like woman on the streets videos, basically where she like sticks a microphone in somebody's face. So she, like, I don't know, for example, there's one video where she is literally sticking a mic in this like 5-year-old's face, coming from like a pro-choice rally, and she's like, abortion is murder, right, little girl? And like just like shoves it in her face.
Yeah,
and the dad's just like, whoa.
That's her
like,
whole MO. Is she'll take her alt-right views and like whatever she believes and go into the opposite viewpoints, like camp, where there's like hundreds of people there like demonstrating, like supporting their cause, and she'll, like you said, just go in there and just stir, like ruffle feathers and stir the pot a little bit.
So homegirl on Monday decides to go do one of her videos at Ohio University. I was mistaken. I thought it was Ohio State, and thank you for correcting me, because I would have come off like even more of an idiot.
I got you, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Google
Appreciate
Doc.
That. So she goes and she's going to shoot one of her videos, but it got leaked that she was going to be on campus, and the students at Ohio University basically staged like a full-blown angry mob. Like, they met her with I think it might have been thousands of students out and about.
If I'm not mistaken, they, like you said, it was leaked, and then they met her at where she was going to get out and start working. So they essentially like cut her off before she could even like infiltrate the campus, which resulted in the mass chaos that then went viral.
So it's her camera guy, and her security guard, who might be the largest human being I've ever seen in my life. The dude is at least 6'10" and pushing 4 bills. Easily, just an absolute unit. But so no video. She's not gonna be able to do a video because everyone's there. They're like, we know what you're about. We know what you're here to do, and you're not gonna fucking do it on our campus. So they start these chants, and most of them are directed at her because while she was at Kent State, she allegedly shit her pants at a fraternity party, and there's documented evidence of these allegations, but still want to throw in that allegedly, just in case she lawyers up. And I said I as much as it would go, I guess it would go a long way to like spread our brand if we were to be sued by Caitlin Bennett at InfoWars. I would prefer to gain notoriety in a different way.
Caitlin Bennett just me. Pooped her pants. Allegedly,
there we go. Throwing that allegedly anytime you're like slightly unsure.
She allegedly pooped her pants.
So we're basically ridding ourselves of any slander, any claims of slander. But so basically, this angry mob was chanting like, "Where's your diaper?" Throwing toilet paper at her, just merciless, ruthless. All these clips are going around social media, and she gets on Twitter when she's basically she leaves the scene. She gets escorted off, gets into her car, and she starts tweeting all this shit like, "I'm going to demand that President Trump remove all public funding from Ohio University because I was bullied and assaulted."
She played the victim. Just
what a performance!
And that,
a performance!
And if she wasn't so full shit and had this track record of like this kind of stir the pot, ruffle the feathers, just get people angry at you type personality, then I might feel bad for her. But I don't at all. She rolled in there and people got wind of it and cut her off.
So the videos that she typically does, she's crowdsourcing information and interviews about hot button issues such as gun control, abortion, and I guess most
Gay rights, stuff like that.
Yeah, and the big thing that she's recently come under scrutiny for, come under fire rather, is the transgender bathroom laws and whatnot. So basically anything that's like hot in the streets that like social issues, I guess, and that polarizing social issues at that. And she assumes the farthest right opinion. What's the phrase you said earlier?
She adheres to like a brand of paranoid conservatism.
Exactly.
That's what we.
So basically, they're coming for our guns. They're going to kill our babies. They're going to like dudes are going to come into the women's bathroom and sexually assault us. Like these are her words.
It's just trickle down kind of fear mongering type super right tactics where they put out these polarizing social issues, like you said, and they just throw like worst case scenario type stuff with no like factual basis.
When she first came onto the scene, she was basically proliferating these videos through social media. So her Twitter, her Instagram, her Facebook, and whatnot. InfoWars, like I mentioned before, they caught on to what her shtick was, and Alex Jones, that rat fuck, decided to hire her, and now she's attached to InfoWars, which, if you're not familiar with InfoWars, they are literally the scummiest, skeeziest outlet of news, and I say news very lightly. If you're watching the video feed, you see the the air quotes, but basically Alex Jones is famous for conceiving all of these conspiracy theories. Most famously, I would say, is that the Sandy Hook and Vegas shootings were basically staged by the federal government to further their agenda on gun reform.
Yeah, push to come and take the guns.
And so she, once she gets hired by InfoWars, she runs with this take and basically takes it a step further and says that, and this is, I guess Alex Jones was the original voice behind this, but that the folks at Sandy Hook, mind you, Sandy Hook, one of the most tragic school shootings in the history of this nation, those parents who were crying were just crisis actors. Their kids were not shot. They were hired to basically be miserable on camera in order for the government to take away your assault rifles.
So obviously, knowing who Alex Jones is and InfoWars is and everything that they promote as like factual news is proven to be just inaccurate. What was the result from like the social media community for Alex Jones? Is can you access his Twitter feed, his social media networks?
Dude. So he received a Twitter ban in a 30-day Facebook ban initially. I think this was right after the Sandy Hook stuff, and the problem with Alex Jones, outside of the fact that he's like just one of the worst fucking human beings alive and just complete scum, is that he has this just massive following, and his followers started to berate the grieving parents who just lost a child in a school shooting and basically urge them. Although he has he has a hell of a lawyer, frankly, which makes complete sense. But basically, he urged his following to harass these so-called crisis actors,
who were in fact parents grieving after their child got.
But according to Alex Jones, no, they're just trying to take away your fucking assault rifles. So he got kicked off Twitter. He got kicked off Facebook, which is shocking because Facebook is very they don't kick off anyone.
Facebook has made a stance recently where they're not gonna check anything.
Right.
Whatever
exactly.
you put on there is what's on there.
Like the home
as long
of
as
fake
you're not
news.
directly like promoting violence against another person, they're not going to step in and touch your account.
Right. InfoWars podcasts were taken off of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. They can't be on YouTube and they can't be on Vimeo. So everything is through their website, InfoWars. And I keep saying InfoWars as if I want to give them clicks. Please do not give these fuckers clicks. And we'll get on this a little bit later. But it makes so much sense that this Caitlyn Bennett chick, who, when she first came out, you're just like, this is absurd. This chick is insane. Obviously, she's just a clout chaser. But then she started to open her mouth, and you realized, oh man, she's actually repulsive. Like, she's a horrible human being.
Everything she does is cringeworthy. She's a disciple of Alex Jones. She's literally Alex Jones and young female form.
So I was sitting in, I guess, Monday. I actually want to talk to you about this, but somebody had to skip class, not naming names or anything. And
you weren't at class or what?
No, I was there, dude. I mean, you wouldn't know because
Must have been me.
So I'm seeing the Twitter, like just Twitter fucking explode. And I'm not a huge fan of Twitter. I got off, I deleted my Twitter account a couple years ago just because it's toxic. That environment is just disgusting.
Of outrage and hatred.
And I'm back on now because we're trying to grow the brand and whatnot. And I need to be in the know with, what the youngins are talking about and whatnot. But
what's lit and what's not lit.
Basically, she's like the number one trending topic on Twitter. And there's
the entire country.
Yeah. And there's all these videos from the protest, or could you call it a protest?
I wouldn't call it a protest. It was more of just like people showing up to get her the fuck out.
Only thing missing was, torches and pitchforks.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a group of students that showed up to just be like, no, you're not welcome here.
And I was getting a kick out of it because I don't like this chick. I think she's poisonous, and I mean, we both have. Not only is she a bad person, but she claims to be a journalist. And I swear to God, if she's claiming to be a journalist, then I'm fucking Walter Cronkite.
I mean, so frankly. this video that's up right now on her Twitter feed has north of 10 million views, and the video is her getting pushed out, and then they get in the truck, and there's such a mob that it's hard for them to just drive straight out. And she's in the car, just essentially like baby voicing, like, oh my gosh, they're throwing stuff at me. Oh my gosh. Like trying to play the victim to whoever's watching the video and actually buys into this like this bullshit that she spews. Another one of her videos, probably the most popular video, and I don't know if you've seen it, you might have. It has north of 20 million views. It's when she went to, I believe it was a Bernie Sanders rally, and the campaign caught wind of her, and they told her she had to leave. Yeah. And it speaks to your point about her claiming that she's a journalist because she was there to, quote hands, cover the rally,
right,
when in fact everyone and their mom knows that she was there to just stir feathers and fuck up whatever the hell was going on.
And the thing about Bernie is he's very open about giving pretty much anybody credentials who wants them, because that's sort of like his platform. It's like, he's
a man of the people,
right?
That's
exactly
what his whole thing is.
And he's not like he's not I think we should make it clear, he's not going to deny dissenters credentials, but because InfoWars it's literally fake news, and I hate saying that because it's been popularized by right-wing conservatives and whatnot, and not to say like that I feel like I'm just being like middleman Dan here, but the fact that Bernie and his camp caught wind that InfoWars was trying to get credentials and denied them tells you all you need to know about just how just disgusting this outlet is. But as I was watching all these videos, and I felt myself like I felt giddy by watching how all these people were so pissed off at her. And I kind of thought, I'm like, what about Caitlin Bennett makes folks just have such a strong reaction? Because my solution to this, and this makes me such a fucking hypocrite, is to just stop giving this shit clicks. Like, it's the same for all these folks who just want to be, like, most opinionated journalists who want to get clicks based on their outrageous opinions. They know where the line is, and seldom do they pass that line. Then you have the folks like Alex Jones and Caitlin Bennett who know where the line is and go 15 feet beyond said line.
So Caitlin Bennett, to me, is the type of I don't know what to call her, because I don't want to call her a journalist. I don't want to call her a reporter. She's the type of like social media, I guess, star that doesn't know shit about anything that could counter like her belief system. So she takes her ultra like right wing beliefs, and there's people on the left that do this same thing.
Absolutely.
Probably not to her extent, as aggressive as it is, but they take these beliefs that they have and they don't even try to see the other side, and then they go right into the opposing view and try to correct them and try to ask them why they believe what they do. And that kind of thing makes people mad, and it human beings by nature are incredibly reactionary. So when they get angry, it goes viral, because that's what people want. They want to see Caitlin Bennett get shut down online, or the people that are for Caitlin Bennett want to see her like stick it to the left that have it all wrong. And yeah, I mean, she's just a nuisance.
I mean, like I mentioned, I got off Twitter just for this reason, because it's just toxic. But why? I just don't understand why people want to tune in just to see, to just get angry. I mean, I feel like a lot of people our age like to get online just to get mad. Mm-hmm. They love to be mad online, and they like having this like stimulation that makes them like inexplicably upset. Like the fact that this woman who has some very controversial and fake, I don't want to say fake, what would you basically what's the word for it, unsubstantiated claims about some seriously controversial stuff in our country. Why do we allow ourselves to be so caught up with her bullshit? It doesn't make any sense to me. However, I had this thought as I was watching all these videos and just scrolling through my Twitter, like, fuck yeah, like, I love to see this chick get roasted. I'm like, why do we let her live in our heads rent free? It makes no sense to me. I don't understand. How do we get to this point in society?
I think that it's just a byproduct of the social media culture that has become like an exclusive like outrage culture on both sides. If you get on the internet, Twitter specifically, rarely is it a place where like everybody's coming together and spreading a positive message. That's why it was so profound when Kobe Bryant passed away, that people were actually coming together on social media and things were like positive for a change, and it had the entire country shook. The normal outlook on social media is negative cesspool type negativity, and when you bring in politics and how people live and people's rights and all the hot button issues that people care about on a day-to-day basis, it just gets elevated to an extreme. And Caitlin Bennett is the prototypical example of that outrage culture that has become the main point of social media, for better or for worse, mainly for worse. She calls herself a journalist, but really she just goes into crowds that have different views, and her entire goal is just making people angry by questioning those beliefs. And I mean, it's just wrong.
You see folks doing this all the time in like late night television, like Kimmel's folks, and to a lesser extent Fallon. Like he'll do the man on the street stuff because it's funny. Like cousin Sal, he'll occasionally go and do these absurd, man on the street videos where he's sticking a microphone in somebody's face just to kind of get like that awkward interaction and whatnot. But I think it's harmless. Whereas this stuff is
lighthearted and satire. They do dumb things like point on this map where Ohio is or something, and people don't know, and it's silly because they look dumb. But when you mix in the fact that she's not going into these places out of like humor or zest or lighthearted kind of like collaboratism that America needs in this kind of climate, she's going in with a hostile mindset, and she's like just getting mad at people. People are responding to her in a negative way, and then it just boils down, and I mean, it blows up. The videos of her online that I see, most of the ones I see are her getting roasted. So I don't know why the hell she's going out anymore, because I mean, she must just get a ton of DMs from people that like agree with her or something, because based on the videos I see, she looks like a fucking idiot all the time.
I just really, in a time where journalism is facing constant scrutiny and really is going through one of the worst periods that, I mean, we talk to our professors all the time about, like, the failures of news media and why folks don't buy newspapers and why people don't want to pay for good journalism anymore. This is the worst time for journalism in the United States, maybe when we're going through like the Red Scare or something, and journalists were receiving cease and desist, and what's the phrase we're learning in Donald's class? It's just like basically getting censored before content was produced. Like obviously that was not a great time, and anytime you're receiving censorship from the federal government, that's problematic for a variety of reasons, because the United States claims to be the freest nation on earth, which is, I don't think, no longer, it's certainly not the case any longer. If you look at the rankings of the Press Freedom Index, I think the United States is hardly in the top 50 anymore. But in a time that's so divisive as this, and folks have no ability to... Did your camera just go off?
I think so.
All right, why don't we just pause right here?
Let's just keep rolling. Keep going.
Okay, let me get back into it.
You want me to pause?
No, I can get back into it. I'm gonna just let it die for like 5 seconds and clap. In a time where journalists are facing all this scrutiny, like I said, and people have very low media IQ, and that means that folks don't know, down, up from down and right from left. and they're basically being fed all this disinformation and whatnot. Folks like Caitlin Bennett, who claim to be a journalist, like if she just said I'm just in it for the clout, I am trying to develop my brand, and I want all the Twitter followers and whatnot. It's not like I'm not going to respect that, but the fact that she claims to be a legitimate journalist is so fucking toxic and so bad for not only actual journalists who are criminally underpaid and struggling to bridge the gap between newspapers and the digital age, and honestly failing. And then you have folks like this Caitlin Bennett chick who literally give so-called journalists this terrible, terrible name. It's unfortunate, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I was sitting there on Monday thinking that this was the funniest fucking thing I've seen since, Chappelle's most recent stand-up.
I mean, this girl has north of 300,000 Twitter followers at this point, and when I checked yesterday, because I'm always interested to see how people grow their social media, she was pretty significantly under 300,000. And just based on this interaction alone, which you could argue is incredibly negative for her, she gained 30 to 40,000 followers in one night. So if you're a normal journalist, like you said, and you're kind of grinding that normal kind of news beat, trying to find the news, trying to report what's honest, trying to get like a sense of the times and do your civic duty and the duty that your job dictates, you got to feel completely deflated because this girl is just going out and ruffling feathers, and it's incredibly more successful than anything that they're doing.
Her and her camp are literally manipulating reality. They're distorting facts.
It's just missing. It's disinformation. It's fear mongering tactics. It's throwing out stuff that isn't proven. The transgender stuff is the best example of that, in my opinion, because she goes out and she just puts a microphone in people's faces and she asks, if you let guys into girls' bathroom, they're going to sexually assault people. And it's
right?
And that's just where are the statistics?
Based on
does that happen? Based on what? Because you're closed-minded, fuck? It makes no sense, and it's damaging to how people get information. It's damaging to voter kind of competence going into the 2020 election. It's just bad on all fronts because she's not the only one. She's just the one that gets the most traction at this point.
And she's so underinformed. And some folks like this they understand what they're doing, and they've just sold out and they're just trying to get clicks. At least they're well educated and well read. This chick is dumb. She is big dumb. Her boss is probably more intelligent than she is, honestly, and that's sad because Alex Jones is a fuck.
Yeah, but Alex Jones in himself, he's a freaking psychopath. So he sees Caitlin Bennett. He's like, we're going to do this, and she buys into it. She's just dumb. She doesn't think for herself. She gets put in these situations, and it doesn't work out for anybody in a positive manner, and it further just kind of cuts at the fabric of our country, and it's incredibly unfortunate. It's
irresponsible. It's unethical. It's bad for literally everyone associated with her content, whether that's the content creators or those who are consuming it, because if you're giving off this idea that you're an actual journalist, like Big J journalist, and you're spreading this bullshit, people are I don't want to say that they're dumb, but they lack a little bit of savvy when it comes to consuming good journalism. They see this shit pop up on their Facebook feed. Well, no longer, I guess, because of InfoWars is like we said has been blocked by most social media accounts. But hypothetically, you're in a bar. You're not necessarily the most well versed in politics and the ongoing social climate. And your buddy says, "Hey, did you see this video about this lady who was interviewing these folks at this rally for liberals and whatnot, and she was saying don't you isn't it bad that the federal government's going to take our guns?" And you're in this weird you're in this weird headspace and caught between not knowing what's appropriate to consume and what media you should be reading about, and being told by either your secondhand buddy, because we can talk about this. We can both talk about this because we're well educated. We have experience in media. But if you do not have that awareness, and people you trust are getting this information from this horrible human being, and they're passing it off as fact.
I mean,
that's when it's like a game of telephone. Like I say one thing to you, and 15 people later, I'm saying something completely different, and that's how we've arrived in this media landscape.
It just further dictates or further proves the point that like the social media, like when you go to social media for your news, it's just a cesspool of disinformation. But Caitlin Bennett's pinned tweet right now is a 50-second video of her so-called riot, which doesn't illustrate the entire time that she was there. It doesn't illustrate what she did when she got out of the car. It starts with her in the car, people throwing stuff at her car, and she said, "This is what happens when a Trump supporter goes to a college campus. Leftists at Ohio University started a riot when whoever and I showed up, and the police let it happen." So she goes out of her way to spin the narrative for something that probably didn't even happen, like the way that she's dictating it. She got out of the car with the sole intent of going on that campus and stirring shit up, and the fact that she was met with like a wall of students who weren't going to take her bullshit and we're going to throw it right back in her face, whether you agree with like people throwing shit at her car or flicking her off, whatever, it's irrelevant, or not. She is just full of shit, and it further pushes this narrative that if you adhere to this kind of like news consumption, you're going to be misled and you're going to go on a path that isn't loaded in facts.
Videos like this lack context, and they take advantage of the fact that millennials and kids, below the age of, I don't know, folks below the age of like 30 who grew up in the internet age have such low attention spans. They'll see this video and not read anything else about it. They will take it as fact and think, wow, that's really fucked up. But what they don't see is that the media outlet that she works for has done unspeakable harm to folks who are going through the largest tragedy any human being should have to go through. Or, not unspeakable tragedy that no one should go through. I misspoke there. And like I said, Alex Jones, and this is stuff you don't see on this 50-second this Twitter video you were referring to. You don't see the shit that InfoWars puts out. You don't see this harm, this irreparable harm that this company has done. You don't see the shit like that Caitlin Bennett's done in the past. You just see that 50-second video, you form an opinion, and it's so fucking irresponsible. I don't know if the burden of cultivating knowledge is on the consumer or the media outlet in question.
So I think that it's probably a mixture of both, because if you're one of Caitlin Bennett's 327,000 Twitter followers and you're not following her because you enjoy seeing her get roasted, then that means that you probably agree with the things that she's pushing, and you look at her as some sort of hero of sorts somehow. So she is pushing this narrative on social media. She's putting out this fake news, this completely out of context
liberal
bullshit.
Snowflakes, like
liberal snowflake, kind of like this is how they react to us. This is how they treat Trump supporters. We're so victimized, so marginalized, and she has access directly to it's a ladder. So they go to Caitlin Bennett, and then they find out about InfoWars, and they go to the website, and then they become this entire sort of the clouded bullshit. The left is evil, fuck them, and it further creates a divide in the country when we're at a point where we should probably be pushing back toward the center.
And this enables folks who have actual power, and I'm going to refer to this article that you sent me a couple of weeks ago from The Atlantic. This thought process enables people who have power to take advantage of social media algorithms and just the mass proliferation of fake information and manipulated headlines and false news stories, and give them to folks on social media. The article that I'm referencing, Ryan, like I said, this is basically your thing. You were the one who found this article and sent it to me, thankfully, and I sent it to my entire family. If you haven't read it, it's fantastic. But basically, it's about President Trump's ability to sort of take all of these fake news, and I don't know how else would you describe fake news?
I would describe it as like disinformation campaigns.
Sure.
It illustrates the strategy used by Trump in 2016 to like oversaturate like social media networks with disinformation, with Caitlin Bennett style like outrage, Facebook posts, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, everything. In the article, it talks about how he posted like 4.6 million Facebook ads to Hillary's 60,000. So he got wind of the fact that if you just load up these social media networks with disinformation, people are just going to believe it at face value because nobody is doing any digging. And it just discredits like the big players in the industry who are relevant, and they formulate educated opinions and they present it to the people, and you're supposed to take it in and develop an opinion for yourself, and it completely makes that obsolete. And it creates a generation of people that are just distracted, that don't care, and that just see something online. They're like, oh, that makes me mad. I'm on this side. I don't give a fuck about the other side because this is what I believe. And if you don't believe me, then fuck you.
They refuse to read media establishments like the New York Times, Boston Globe, Washington Post that actually put time and effort into their reporting. And I understand it's easier to watch a 30-second video than read a 2,000-word article, but at the same time, hell, dude, if it's between picking a video to watch and an article to read, I'm 9 times out of 10 going to pick the video because it's easier. It's mindless, and they know this. They know how erratic and uncalculated the average consumer of media is, and there's no reason to read long form journalism if you think that you can develop an opinion based on these videos. There's no reason to subscribe to actual newspapers.
Yeah, and I certainly don't think that you can possibly establish like a fully educated like opinion just based on watching a video, especially not a video like the ones that Caitlin Bennett and like the Trump campaign are putting out. But what sucks is that these politicians are getting wind of it. Trump in 2020 is 1,000% going to double down on this strategy because his crowd has proven that this is an effective strategy in today's climate, and it can appeal to people's emotions and their insecurities about whatever in the world with just loud shouting and fear mongering. And it doesn't really matter if it's factual or not because people just want to hear a story that they can attach to, and they don't really care if it's right or wrong.
Let's wrap this up. But I would say, in 2016, when millions of folks were blindsided by, President Trump's victory over Hillary Clinton, they did not account for this reality that we now live in, which is, folks with a lot of power and a lot of assets, a lot of money, taking advantage of the system. And social media it's a very dangerous weapon. When it is not utilized properly, it can be very dangerous, and we're seeing that manifest itself in a day-to-day life. And the reason we broached this topic, and the reason I felt like it was important to talk about this, is because it's like I don't know what the solution is. Do you just turn, like, I got off social media, I got off Twitter because I didn't want to be a part of it anymore, but folks are still going to take part in this. Twitter is not going anywhere anytime soon, but it's so toxic and such a hostile environment, and I don't know what the solution is, but I hope that there is one, and there's going to be sort of a market correction at some point soon, because this is unfortunate, and it's sort of dystopian. We're going to a state of dystopia in terms of national media.
Dystopia is a perfect word for it, to be honest. And you ask what the correction is. I don't want to be a pessimist. I like to think of myself as somewhat of like an optimist. I like to see like the world in a light that maybe things are going to be okay in the long run. But if we continue to like shorten our attention spans and don't care about long form stuff, don't care about what's going on, not listening to politicians, like how many people out there are going to watch the debate tonight?
Seldom. Seldom few.
Do a majority of the people even know that people are like that? There's Democratic candidates like debating tonight? No, I don't think they do, and they're just going to catch the highlights on Twitter. And they're going to catch the highlights based on whoever is cutting up the most reactionary kind of outrage type, quote from the debate. And it's only going to get worse, in my opinion, before it gets better. And like I said, I hope there is a market correction.
I have a simple solution.
Burn it all down?
No. Don't listen to a female who got caught shitting her pants at a fraternity party less than 3 years ago. Allegedly. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
She definitely pooped her pants. Allegedly. All right, welcome back. We're going to detour from that sort of serious political commentary, and we're going to start talking about stuff that we kind of actually know about, which is sports.
Bread and butter.
Yeah, it's our bread and butter of sorts. So, Jesse,
Ryan,
are you aware that it's hockey season?
I am.
Are you aware that the Stars are pretty good?
Would you say that they're the second best in their conference?
Yeah, so the Stars are kind of like back and forthing with the Blues right now for who is the top team in the West, which is incredible. It's fun. I love it.
It's nice to root for a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, spoil of riches for you. You get Liverpool and the Stars.
Yeah,
what
it's pretty
the fuck
nice.
is going on here?
Yeah,
man?
things are good. So I mean, the Stars are a weird team. They started 1-7-1 on the season, which, I mean,
Not great.
it's not great.
Not
at all.
great.
When you're at that point in the season, you're like, holy fuck, this is going to be a long one. We're screwed here. But they've certainly bounced back. They survived a coaching change. Jim Montgomery, who, if you're a Stars fan listening, you know has been our coach for all of 1 year. Last year was his first year. This year was supposed to be his second year, and he got fired randomly. It's breaking news. It was crazy. There was all sorts of rumors, and to this day, nobody really knows like what he did. He checked into rehab at one
I was
point.
gonna say it's like sort of a foregone conclusion that my guy had a bit of a drinking problem.
Yeah.
man.
So the thought is obviously that
Speaking
he
of
has,
drinking problem, you keep going. I forgot my beer.
Yeah. Why don't you snag me one too?
Perfect.
All
Keep
right,
going.
So while Jesse goes and feeds his alcoholic tendencies, I'm going to talk about how Jim Montgomery. It was a sad thing to see him go because he did lead the Stars to the playoffs. He was well liked throughout the organization, but then something happened. They kept it under wraps and they let him go. Ultimately, they brought in Rick Bowman, who was the assistant coach, interim coach. And he's led the team to the best record in the West on and off with the St. Louis Blues. Welcome back, Jesse. Bowman Jesse, I don't know if you know this, but Bowman's a defensive coach.
Yep.
He brought in this sort of defensive-minded kind
Dude's
of
been
culture.
in the NHL for like decades too, right?
He's been in the decades forever. He loves Corvettes. That's his whole thing. So he takes over, kind of switches the narrative, puts he doesn't bench any of our guys, but he kind of diminishes some of the offensive guys' ice times for guys who are more defensive minded, and it's worked. It's worked about as well as you can imagine.
So in terms of talent, as a very casual hockey fan, if you had to, go roster by roster and just go strictly off pure talent, where would the Stars rank?
So, are you talking like top forwards, scoring, goals, everything like that? Or are you talking more defensively, goalie?
Just like the whole kit and caboodle.
So the Stars struggle scoring goals to this point in the season, but their defense and their goaltending is at the top of the league. So they're a team that's gotten by on the fact that people can't score on us, or them rather, not us. I'm not on the team. So
Can we brief segue? Do you have a problem when folks say us when you're talking about a team?
I really don't.
Let it fucking
Yeah.
ride then.
Let
I
it
do the
ride.
same thing. Yeah.
I don't really care. I'm not on the team. None of us are on the team, but we comment on the team and we like who we like. So to get back to your point, the Stars, as far as like offensive production, guys that you see every night, like lighting at the highlight reel, Connor McDavid, Alexander Ovechkin, Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon, guys like that. They don't have one of those guys. Tyler Seguin is probably supposed to be that, but he hasn't lived up to that hype at all this season. He's been valuable in other ways, but he hasn't been able to put the puck in the net. Jamie Benn, the captain, the same way. Art Ross Trophy winner, but the year he won it, it was a weird year where nobody got over 90 points, and he somehow won it with 87. So, which to kind of illustrate how low of a number that is, there's two forwards on the Edmonton Oilers who both have 87 points already this season. And there's a lot of hockey left to be played. So to answer your question, in the long form, they have talent. Some of it's untapped. Their best assets are in net and in defense, and that's where we thrive, and that's where we've won hockey games.
So with we're well past the halfway point of the NHL season, and given the Stars' current place and their success they've experienced this season, as a Stars fan, you can't help but think that there's potential for a deep playoff run. Ryan, we're going to be having this conversation in 4 months or so, and I want you to tell me why the Stars could potentially make said deep playoff run.
So defense wins championship, Jesse. That's a cliche as old as time. But you also have to score goals. If the Stars can continue with their goaltending, with their defense, Ben Bishop, Antti Hudobin, both incredible goaltenders, can keep up this kind of brick wall type mentality, then the Stars can make a deep playoff run. They can make a Stanley Cup run if guys like Sagan and Jamie Benn step up to the plate and start putting the puck in the net. The big story for the Stars going into the playoffs is going to be their eventual matchup with the St. Louis Blues, who are the defending Cup champions. The Stars have met the Blues in their last 2 playoff appearances. Both times it's gone to 7 games. Both times they've lost. Last year, it took 2 overtimes. Game 7, brutal loss for Stars fans. So there's a lot of animosity, a lot of hate toward that city of St. Louis. Personally, I think they're a bunch of schlubs, a bunch of low-class fucks. But who am I to speak on that? You know, I'm just wearing a nice collared shirt with a sweet pattern on it. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, and I'm the intramural champ.
But to answer your question, the Stars to make a deep playoff run have to rely on their defense, stick to what they're doing, and offensive production has to continue to trend upwards because you can't win games if you don't put points on the board.
Well, that's all well and good. I know you don't want to do this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. I want you to provide your prediction for the rest of the season for the Stars because, as somebody who consumes a fair amount of hockey-related media, I don't necessarily sit down in front of my television to watch hockey. As we've discussed, I unfortunately don't have a hockey team. I need to adopt one as my own. But
there's a nice team in Dallas that you can root for.
Anywho, what are your predictions for the rest of the season? And when we're having this conversation in 4 months, are we going to be talking about the Stars Stanley Cup win or about the disappointing loss in the first or second round?
So the way you phrase that question is unfair to me because it puts me on the spot where I can either be the irrational Stars fan or I can think about it like logically and a little pessimistically, and I'm going to choose to do the latter because you can't, like, if I'm going to bet on a team to win the Cup, it probably won't be the Dallas Stars because you can't just assume that the scoring numbers are going to increase. And there's just so much talent in the league. You got teams like Boston, you got Crosby, you got Ovechkin, you got the stupid St. Louis Blues. You got Edmonton, who's hungry. Edmonton, to talk about them a little bit, has been a team that has literally loaded up on number 1 picks. Some of them have gone great. Some of them have been terrible. But right now they have the best player in the world, Connor McDavid, complementing another guy, Leon Draisaitl, who literally topped the rankings for points. And they're hungry because they've underachieved. So teams like this who can punch you in the face, bring the game right at you, are going to be tough for the Stars to handle if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. In the West, I think that conference is weaker than the East, so they have a realistic chance to get to that conference championship game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them there. But if the scoring is not there at that point, if it's not there in the playoffs, then they don't really have a chance. So my prediction: Stars Stanley Cup victory.
Fuck yeah, I love it. Love it. I honestly hope that comes to fruition for you because I, unlike you, like it when my boys' teams do well.
I like it when your teams do well. What are you talking about?
Right. Let's just disavow the last couple of weeks of pods when you've just taken it's like a cottage industry for you to just roast the fucking Astros. But sure.
Do you really want to get into
No, I certainly do not.
Because I support my boys, but I don't support my boys when they're cheating fucks.
So, okay, let's get outside the Metroplex before we move on to basketball. What elsewhere on the NHL, for casual hockey fans, what do we need to know?
You need to know that hockey's the best sport on the planet, for one. And what else you need to know is that there's a lot of good storylines. I touched on Edmonton a little bit. They're in the playoff hunt. They're the best player in the world. So the question is, can they turn it on the playoffs? So if you're a casual hockey fan and you're sitting down in a couple months and you got an NHL game on your palate. It's the Penguins versus the Oilers, and you're thinking, what the heck am I doing here? What am I gonna watch? Just pay close attention to number 97 on Edmonton, because he's hungry. Last season they got bounced, and he was not happy. He was visibly upset in the interview. He said it's not good enough. So he's hungry, and he's a guy whose talent can elevate an entire team. Another storyline is Tampa Bay is good for the second straight year. Last year they set a record number for points in the season team-wise, 128, and then they were subsequently swept in the first round by the Carolina Hurricanes. Embarrassing. So they're going to try to get back, and they're going to want to fucking punch people in the mouth to wipe that nasty memory out of there. And then there's always the narrative of, can Crosby or Ovechkin make another legitimate run at a Stanley Cup? And the answer is always maybe, because they're both good. They're both in the playoffs, and they're both going to try to add to that legacy. So those are my three storylines going into the latter half of the season. Yeah, hockey's great. Tune in. Underrated sport. If you're in a city where you have an NHL team, I'm not talking shit, Jesse. Don't roll your eyes. If you're in a city where you have an NHL team, I highly suggest you take some time, buy a ticket, go watch it, because it's unlike any sporting event on the planet.
Before the Stars go to the playoffs, me and you will be going to the AAC to watch the Stars game, putting that out on the pod, speaking that into reality, because I love hockey. I really do. It's so fun to watch. It's, the atmosphere actually at a game is fucking electric. I mean, my aunts used to take me to the Houston Aeros games all the time. I've told you this, at the Toyota Center, and it's just fucking awesome, dude. It's amazing. It's so much fun. Everyone there is so invested. It's so fast paced. It's just a tragedy that Houston can't, get a fucking hockey team.
When they quit cheating, maybe they'll get some good fortune.
Sweet Jesus. Okay. Let's transition over to basketball.
NBA.
So it's actually kind of interesting. The state of basketball in the Lone Star State is at the peak of its powers, in terms, especially as it relates to Dallas and Houston, because the Spurs are sort of like they're sort of an aside, whereas we've experienced like 15, 20 years of their dominance in the,
Thank God that's over.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love Timmy and I'm not a huge fan of Popovich, but I gotta respect the fuck out of him. He's one of the greatest of all time to, don the coaching uniform. Good Lord. Coaching. Did I just say coaching uniform?
I think you did.
Oh, no.
I don't really know what that means.
Yikes. Big yikes. There goes my basic, sports acumen out the window.
ASMR.
So, the Dallas Mavericks,
the GOAT.
if you're going to summarize the first half of their season, and for those that don't know, we just reached the basic halfway point of the NBA season, which came as we witnessed the All-Star game this weekend. And mind you, All-Star festivities this weekend were fucking awesome. Shout out to the NBA for finally getting the All-Star game right, in my opinion. The dunk contest was the best I've seen in a long time. 3-point contest was fantastic. Came down to the last shot.
Got robbed, though, dude. What was that about?
It was basically because, what is his name? Chadwick Boseman doesn't know how to judge a dunk contest. But no, dude definitely got robbed. But like I said, most I don't even know how to put into words. I don't want to say electric because that is not doing it justice. But the most entertaining dunk contest that I can recall personally, Dwight Howard came out, wore his Superman, cape, and delivered 2 very subpar dunks because he's old and, old as shit. His knees don't work anymore. Not nearly as explosive as it used to be, but it was still fun. Shout out NBA hat tip to Adam Silver, literally the best. He's got to be the best commissioner in all of major sports. But if you're going to put the Mavs first half into context, 3 words or less, I think you have to go with holy shit Luka. This kid is so good. I knew that the Mavs got a steal when, Atlanta took him third and traded him to the Mavs basically for, essentially Trae Young straight up. It was Trae Young and one other player, and that trade is going to be one of the worst trades in NBA history.
So what do you make of like? So Trae Young is obviously like he's a pretty good.
No,
basketball
he's
player.
yeah,
He's
dude,
been great this
sure,
season.
he's like Steph Curry light for sure.
So people look at Luka and he's been so electric, and they that narrative you just said where they're gonna look back on this and it's probably gonna be unfairly critical of the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young. What kind of career is Trae Young going to have, in your opinion?
He's going to be,
because he was everywhere.
So if you took Steph Curry and you removed 33% of his powers, you'd have Trae Young. I think that's the logical comparison, because this dude prides himself on taking these absurd 3-pointers from God knows where, like the fucking logo. He has incredible range, but he is sort of going through the whole Devin Booker problem, where it's like he puts more of importance on the statistics than actually winning. And mind you, this is like a take that has not had a lot of time to come to fruition, because the kid's still in his second season as an NBA player. So we don't know who he's going to be. But if you made me say now, I think he's going to be, like I said, about 66% as valuable as Steph Curry. That's his ceiling, in my opinion. He's great. He's a great player, but Luka is a generational talent. And the fact that y'all went from one of the most likable and talented players in the history of the NBA in Dirk Nowitzki to Luka, and just happened to luck into another European superstar is, I'm gonna say it's a little fishy, little suspect. I think
fishy. What are you talking
Cubes
about?
might be.
I thought you were gonna.
Silver's back. No,
I thought you were gonna go
fucking
with.
around.
I thought you were gonna go with Lucky, and then
I have to rationalize.
And then you
this
accuse Dallas of performing sketchy, unethical, lack of integrity type things, and then you have the audacity to put that on our city when you can't even look in the mirror and realize that this city is full of integrity. We deserve what we're coming. You didn't want me to talk about Houston, and then you come out the you come out the woodworks with this kind of hot take.
My left testicle. Luka, though, second season.
I was getting a little tired. You woke me up a little bit.
All kidding aside, this kid is just raw.
That's the word for it right
he's
there.
Already a top 5 player in the league. This season, he's averaging 29 points per game, 9.5 rebounds, almost 9 assists per game. He's close to averaging a triple-double. And the fact that he got to this point this quickly, like, I expected this from him, but maybe in his 3rd or 4th season, and he's already here. The one knock on him, of course, is his health. He's a little doughy, but he's also very, very young. And he's going to grow. He's going to continue to grow and develop. And you don't really hit your physical peak until, you're 24, 25?
Yeah.
This kid's just still a baby,
20 years old, right?
He's putting up, he's averaging almost, nearly a triple-double with 30 fucking points. It's insane.
So if he continues to trend upwards, you have to assume that he's going to hit that athletic peak, 24, 25, and he's also ASMR beer open. And then he's going to probably tone up, get athletically fit, and become an even more efficient shooter than he already is. And I mean, as a Dallas Mavericks fan, I'm admittedly not someone who follows them religiously, but with the guys like Luka, it's hard to not watch.
He's so much fun. He dominated the All-Star weekend. Unfortunately, he didn't get a lot of playing time in the All-Star game on Sunday.
Coming off that ankle.
Exactly. Yeah. It's you don't want to press him. And if you get hurt in the All-Star game, it's really hard to sort of rationalize that. Yeah, exactly. It's
the absolute worst. Luka hurt his ankle at practice, a couple weeks ago, maybe 2, and he gets healthy right before the All-Star game. He plays against the Kings, and he says he's going to play in the All-Star game. I admittedly was like, come on, my guy. Just sit it out. But he's in the second year. He probably should have made the All-Star game last year, but he didn't. There's a little bit of controversy with that. This year, he was obviously a unanimous pick.
The crazy thing about Luka, in my opinion, is that most NBA stars have a bit of baggage. Yeah. And the thing about Luka is he's too young to have that baggage. He's so pure, and he's, I would say, probably the most likable player in the league right now. Everybody absolutely adores him, and rightfully so.
Because he's got this, like you said, he's pure. He's got this childlike innocence, and everybody knows his history at this point. He was playing professional basketball in Europe so he's not afraid of this spotlight, and because he's so young and because he's been in kind of the professional basketball world, he isn't like, I guess he's susceptible to whatever, but he's not like some American baller who got famous on Instagram and
exactly.
like has all this clout and is full of himself. He's just a guy that loves basketball, wants to win every single night, and he's fun, and he has a great game, and he can do anything, and it's incredibly fun to watch.
Thank God Mark Cuban paid off Adam Silver to get him as a draft pick. You really love to see that as a fan from Houston. The Mavs are 33-22. They're 7th in the West. However, they're only 5 games out of second place, which goes to show that there's a logjam in the middle of the Western Conference. They literally can find themselves a 4 seed if they have a good week, frankly.
Yeah. It all falls onto, can Luka stay healthy, because
he's missed a couple of games this season so far.
When Luka's not on the court, they're pretty mediocre.
They are incredibly mediocre.
Porzingis isn't the kind of guy that can carry this team the way people maybe thought he would. He hadn't played in over a year. Yada yada yada, but the Mavs need Luka on the court to be a competitive basketball team.
That brings me to my 3 words about the Mavs season going forward. One player away. Brian, we talked about this earlier today. I feel like the average Mavericks fan was sort of pissed off that the Mavs did not make a move at the trade deadline to get that one player, the one guy. They are probably one top 25 player away from being like going from that 7 seed to maybe like a 3rd seed. But when you surround Luka and Kristaps Porzingis with guys like Hardaway, Seth Curry,
Jalen Brunson,
yes, Maxi Kleber, Barea, Dorian Finney-Smith, guys like this, it kind of makes you question if the front office is invested. And that's just like, I understand that there's 2 sides to this. The problem is, and I want Mavs fans who have this mindset to realize that nobody expected Luka to be this good this quickly. We all knew his ceiling was astronomical, through the roof. However, you should not rush this process, in my opinion. I don't know your take about this. You're, Dallas guy, but you have, like I said, a superstar, a guy who is a bona fide MVP candidate, his 2nd season in the fucking league. So why would you rush the product and jeopardize the future to win now? Especially when both the LA teams are as stacked as they are.
Yeah, so I liken it to when you have like an all-star quarterback in the NFL, or a high draft pick quarterback, and you already have kind of a franchise guy, and you kind of sit him for a little while, and you let him rest, and you let him kind of get in there. For Luka, he's so good so early. You can't predict it, like he said. It would be almost irresponsible if they kind of panic traded some assets away and tried to win like right now. Obviously, that's what they want. Obviously, that's what Luka wants, is to win. But no one saw this coming. So Mavs can realistically kind of grow this talent and, I don't know, be pretty relevant for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I would love to see the Mavs make it, to the second round. I really hope that we find ourselves watching the Mavs and Rockets in the playoffs. That'd be amazing. Literally, I would. I
got Mavs in 5 there.
Bullshit. You serious? My guy? Mavs in 5 against the Rockets?
That's cake, dude.
Against the Rockets.
That's lightweight.
Jesus H. On the other side of the state of Texas, about 4.5 hours down 45.
The old armpit, as they call
Houston,
it.
Texas.
The stinky, deodorant-free armpit of our great state.
The peak of sports success.
And the peak of sports success, you don't have any championships.
I don't think any city is having a worse year than the city of Houston, frankly. And we all know about the Astros' ongoing fiasco.
Great word.
I don't even think that does it justice, frankly. But the Houston Rockets, before the season, Ryan, I'm sure you are familiar with this story. Our general manager, My God. Ryan just showed me a picture of himself in his Navy uniform, and Jesus H. You look like... I called you a cherub earlier today. You literally look like you're 5 years old in that picture.
21.
Holy shit.
Fresh off the deployment.
That's amazing. That is so fucking great.
That is great.
All right.
My dad's just blowing... Sorry to get distracted with that. My dad is just blowing me up with Navy pictures.
Going down memory lane. That's really cute. That's so cute. God, look, he looks so happy.
Yeah,
what happened?
I got home from 11-month deployment and was like, fuck yeah, we're back in San Diego. Let's go to the beach and drink some beers.
Jesus. So, Rockets, before the season, general manager Daryl Morey, he released a very ill-advised tweet. This was the height of the problems in China, the Hong Kong protests. And I say ill-advised, meaning... Like, I support it 100%. The shit that's going on in China is inexcusable, and as the United States, who is allegedly the city on a hill and the beacon of hope and opportunity and all this bullshit that really, if you still believe that as an American, then you're just burying your head in the sand. Daryl Morey weighed in on the opinion because he is one of the most intelligent and progressive general managers and personalities in the NBA. So he tweeted out, it was like a hashtag, so we support Hong Kong or something like that. And unfortunately for the National Basketball Association, China is one of their largest markets, and they produce billions and billions and billions of dollars in terms of just revenue, whether that's television, NBA paraphernalia, memorabilia, yada, yada, yada. You name it, China buys it. The Rockets were one of their favorite teams. Speaking for the nation of China, because Yao Ming played for the Rockets. Tracy McGrady is still, his jersey was the best-selling jersey in China. Tracy McGrady, former Houston Rocket great.
T-Mac.
Yes, sir. He tweets this out, and
Those are my thoughts.
Met with immediate backlash, and it's just a gigantic clusterfuck for the league. They're scrambling, tails between their legs. They don't know what to do. They handled the controversy about as well as you could. But the stench lingered on into the season. Adam Silver, during the All-Star weekend, said, yeah, we probably lost hundreds of $1 million worth of revenue based on that, just because of that tweet. So Daryl Morey is public enemy number one in the NBA. But he's also one of the greatest minds in the NBA, and he's the reason that the Rockets have James Harden. He executed this trade, one of the best trades, and if you're the Thunder, perhaps one of the worst trades. And we're talking about some of the trades that are going to age the worst. That's probably it. And that might be recency bias, but the fact that the Rockets got James Harden for basically pennies on the dollar, but that clusterfuck went into the season, and that was the story for the first several months of the season. Then at the trade deadline, the Rockets traded away their third best player in Clint Capella, and they decided they're going to go small. So going forward, 3 words I would say are size doesn't matter. You
know what my 3 words are?
What? Houston is cesspool.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? I don't know if that counts.
We fucking suck.
What are we doing?
Downward trending.
Well, that's 2 words. So
down we go.
I hate
away.
You. Those are 3 words. I hate you.
Away from playoffs.
So the Rockets are basically their tallest.
James Harden.
Oh Jesus.
Ball hog.
They're going small.
Russell Westbrook.
Oh
bust.
My God.
Daryl Morey fired.
Brilliant, eloquent, well said.
Those are my Houston Rocket takes.
I was nice about Luka. I admitted that he's a generational talent.
Well, you admit that one of the best players in the league is a generational talent.
Well,
That's
okay,
great.
So what's your take on James Harden then?
He's overrated.
Oh my God.
He's not overrated.
Oh my God. Okay,
so,
fucking Bill Simmons over here.
So
Jesus.
my take on James Harden is that you can't win an NBA championship with a guy like James Harden.
Well, you can't win the NBA championship if your tallest dude is 6'6". Like this small ball where you just are firing off a record amount of 3-pointers. Sure, it can work in the short term, but when you're playing a team in a playoff series for 7 games, it's not going to work. They're going to size you up. You're going to start going ice cold from the 3-point line. You're not going to win a championship, especially if you either,
I got 3 more words.
Sure.
Missed their window.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's nice, right?
That was nice.
That's fucking nailed.
That was nice. And you might not be wrong, dude, because Chris Paul, who the Rockets traded away this offseason, is balling the fuck out in Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook is playing, honestly, very well. And the fact that he doesn't have to operate with a big anymore, it's unlocked a different facet of this offense, this Rockets offense, that I didn't know existed. And when the Rockets traded away Clint Capella, I was pissed off. You remember me talking about this. I thought it was inexcusable. They came out, they played ball. They started balling out. I don't think it has legs. I don't think it's going to actually turn into anything. I think that the Rockets will either meet a buzzsaw in the form of the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers in the playoffs, and will once again be eliminated from the playoffs, not make the finals, because God hates Houston. For whatever reason, God hates Houston, Texas. Elsewhere around the league in the NBA, you look ahead, and like I said, really it's about parity this season, because we're coming off of this time when the Warriors dominated the NBA for years and years and years and years. You know, Steph, Clay, KD, Draymond, they ran the NBA. Steve Kerr had those guys just playing the best basketball that we've seen consistently. Like, that's probably one of the best dynasties that the NBA has ever seen. And this year, Steph and Clay are out. Golden State is one of the worst teams in the league. And that opens up this path for teams who have been experiencing some fringe success to actually have some legitimate championship aspirations and think, maybe this is our year. Enter LeBron James and Anthony Davis in one side of LA, and Kawhi and Paul George and his motley crew of six men: Montrez, Pat Bev, Richardson, the whole
Williams.
Cast and crew. Those two teams are the best teams in the league. And we're going, I think, when it comes down to it, it's going to be LA versus Milwaukee. Whether that's the Lakers or the Clippers, I don't know. But I'm absolutely here for this. LeBron versus Giannis in the finals. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. Kawhi versus Giannis in the finals?
I hope.
I'm here for that.
So I'm a passive basketball fan, which explains my silence during this segment, because I don't know that much about it. I know the stars, and what I want to see is Giannis versus Kawhi. I want Kawhi back in there. I think he's awesome. I like the Clippers, and I'm just not a LeBron fan.
No,
I think he's a fine human being. He does great work off the court, but as far as his on court personality, he's just cringeworthy to me. I don't like it at all.
Well, because he's a just narcissistic dickhead.
Crybaby bitch.
Whoa. Allegedly. Say allegedly.
Nah, I'm good, dude. Allegedly.
Lawsuit incoming.
Lawsuit.
So that's really all there is to know about basketball going forward. We don't know until we know. I'm excited because I'm a huge fan of parity. I really am. I hate when the sports leagues are top heavy. Watching the Patriots just dominate the competition for the last decade or so, plus or minus a couple of years. Not important, not worth talking about. It's not fun. It's not fun when you have a dynasty. If you're rooting for that dynasty, it's got to be fun. I think we can agree on that. Ryan, Mr. fucking Patriot fan. It's fun when your teams just dominate the competition year after year after year. But if you support a team that is not winning consistently and you're sniffing success so close to it, but you come into contact with... No, I'm saying... Yes. Rockets have been on the brink of a finals appearance so many times. You know what happened, though? Steph fucking Curry.
Dude, those Warrior teams are real.
Klay Thompson, Steve Kerr.
You made it Game 7, and then he just kind of fucked it up.
Damian Lillard back in 2013 when he hit that 3-pointer and just broke my fucking heart. The Rockets have always been there, but
they just don't got it, man.
Not this season. I don't think so. I don't think that. I disagree with some of the old heads and the basketball purists who say that this can't work, this small ball approach. I think it can, but it's not executed properly by the product that the Rockets have on the floor because they have not surrounded themselves with enough talent on the wings. And the guy they're going through as their de facto center, PJ Tucker, he's awesome. I fucking love PJ, but he is not the best candidate to lead the Rockets to a championship. So it takes a big man to admit that his team is not going to be in the finals. I am that big man.
You're that big man. So how far... What is as a Houston Rockets fan, what is your best case scenario for this team. So what is the end result that you will look back on the 2020 playoff season and think that's about as far as
like I said, I think a deep run cut short by one of the LA teams. I think because like if you're the Rockets and you run in, you come off of a 7-game victory in the second round and you face LA and all of a sudden, holy shit, there's Anthony Davis. Oh fuck, there's Dwight Howard. Guys who are towering over our guys. It's tough. And
towering over our guys, and they can shoot.
Sure. And LeBron James, arguably the best player in the league still. And on the other side of LA, I say other side of LA, they both play at Staples Center, but the other LA team, I mean, fucking Kawhi Leonard is the best player on this planet, in my opinion. Outside of Giannis, I think it's Giannis and Kawhi.
No Luka love there, or what?
I said Luka is a top 5 player, and I stick by that. He is
top 5.
He's number 5.
What's your top 5 then?
In no particular order, or you want me to list?
No, you can jumble them up. Yeah.
So it's Giannis, Kawhi. Are we going healthier?
Players playing right
now.
Who are you going to say that was hurt? Like KD. Steph and Clay and
no, Durant. So, fuck, that's tough. Number 5 is tough. Okay, Luka's 4. So I would go Giannis, LeBron, Harden, Luka.
Harden?
Yeah, Harden's a better player than Luka.
No.
Yes, he is.
No.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, Luka will have a better career than James Harden.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm not. I think
one-on-one, I'll take Luka. Almost say James Harden.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think Luka will have a better career because he's going to be in a better situation.
Oh my god.
He is. Cuban wants to win. And the Rockets have always been surrounded by controversy. We had the opportunity to win. Like you said, what did you say? What was your 3 words? Missed their window. We had the opportunity.
You should get that tattooed on your forehead.
We goofed it. Goose is cooked.
Goose is cooked. All right, so I think that's enough basketball talk. What do you think?
I agree. Do you want to go into golf or you want to take a quick break?
Let's jump right into golf.
All right. So this weekend, you made a great bet. World-class bet.
Oh my god, let's take a break.
You texted me on Sunday and said, I got some serious scratch on Rory McIlroy to take home this dub.
So at this time in the golf tournament, there was 3 people at the top of the leaderboard. You had Kuchar, you had Rory, and you had I believe Adam Scott was up there. Yeah. So it was a stacked leaderboard at Riviera Country Club, which is a fantastic, really tough golf course. The pros, they considered it one of their unofficial majors. They throw that term around quite often, but here we are. Riviera is one of those courses. It's incredibly difficult. The greens are tough. They're angulated. There's hills. There's slopes. You got to hit it straight. You got to hit narrow. It tests your golf game in every aspect of it. Tiger and Jack have never won here, despite playing here a million times. So when those 2 guys can't scratch out a victory, you know that it's a tough place to play. I put some money on Rory, -10. Going into Sunday, he was the favorite. I think it was plus 160, and he shit the bed. I should have remembered that Rory sometimes forgets to play golf on Sundays.
Day 4,
but he was the number 1 player in the world going into the week. I thought maybe he would use that.
I have a recommendation for your guy.
What?
How to conquer Sundays.
How?
Just wear red.
I mean, Tiger finished dead last, so, and he was wearing red.
16 championships.
What's a championship?
16 majors.
There you go.
Well, I know golf. You think I don't know golf?
You don't know golf.
I do absolutely know golf. We've talked about this. Scratch golfer.
Scratch golfer. All right, let me get back to the real golf takes, okay?
Sure.
So, jokes aside, you can wear red, you can wear fucking pink if you want, but Rory showed up Sunday, shit the bed. That's what happened. Adam Scott came through, won for the first time in 4 years. Good for him. I have no ill will toward Adam Scott. He's a class act. He's got a great accent, and he has a perfect golf swing. That thing is beautiful. If I could swing a club like him, man, I'd be set for life. You had some ill will toward
not
Adam
a big Scott guy.
What's the rationale there?
He stole Tiger's caddy. He stole Stevie away from Tiger.
See, that's Caitlin Bennett news right there. That's fake news.
It's not. The breakup was heartbreaking for me. I remember that.
Dude,
he has one bout of infidelity, and his caddy wants to leave him.
They were on their way out anyway. Tiger and Stevie toward the end weren't exactly buddies. They weren't exactly hanging out. It's the same with him and Hank Haney. They weren't friends.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
In Tiger's book, there's a story where Hank Haney's quoted, and this is gonna look like, but this is old Tiger versus new Tiger. Tiger was a tough hang back in the day. He cared about one thing and one thing only, and that's himself and winning golf tournaments. So
he was a winner.
Hank Haney tells Hank Haney tells this story in his book, which is right there on my shelf. Great read. You can borrow it if you want. Where it just illustrated Tiger's mindset at the time so beautifully. Tiger goes into the kitchen. They're watching something on TV at Tiger's house. He goes into the kitchen, gets himself a popsicle, comes out, sits on the couch, starts eating the popsicle, just doesn't say anything to Hank Haney. No, hey man, you want one too? Nothing. No, he just goes out there and crushes his popsicle right in Hank Haney's face.
So wait, the greatest golfer of all time also has to be chivalrous and concerned with the well-being of others. You can't do everything, dude.
Dude, you can't defend old Tiger. Everybody knows he was a selfish fuck.
He doesn't have time for this. He was too busy winning golf tournaments and slaying poontang at Hooters.
Look,
to be concerned with.
It wasn't Hooters. It was Denny's. It was a Denny's waitress.
Even better. Denny's is. I can't even say that.
Look, I'm a big Tiger guy. I love this motherfucker. Okay, he's great.
Hypothetical for you, real quick. So you break up with, or rather, your girl breaks up with you, right? Because right. You're going through it. You total your car. You get a DUI. You're going through it. Like I said, a little depressed.
Man, it's a little turn, tough, huh? Jesus.
A dude comes up and sweeps her off her feet. They get married.
Are you trying to?
So am I supposed to Am I supposed to like this guy? Like if I'm your boy, I'm supposed to what? Like be like, oh yeah, man, for sure. Yeah.
Is this
Great
some
move.
is this some terrible analogy for what happened with the caddy situation?
No, I was just presenting a random hypothetical.
All right. So Rory, the #1 player in the world. He's the first one to speak out against the PGL. Do you notice how I transitioned to a new topic? Because I'm not going to entertain that level of just bad takes, dude. Just bad takes.
So he got interviewed about the PGL and said that he was not a big fan of it.
So, yeah.
What color shirt was he wearing?
I don't know.
Red?
No, god damn it. No, so Rory's sitting there. He's getting asked about the PGL. He pretty much says that he's not going to join this thing because he likes the freedom that comes with picking his own schedule and playing the events that he wants to, which the PGA Tour gives.
Sure. So first-time listeners, PGL, Professional Golf League, Saudi Arabian golf league that's trying to basically
they're trying to woo like the PGA. Top 48 players. Sure. They promise a lot of money, and it's very regimented.
Continue.
So Roy doesn't like it. He's the first one. Why it's noteworthy is because he's the first one to speak out. Again, not against the league, but pretty much be like, yo, I'm out. So I would not be surprised to see a trickle-down effect where other guys kind of step in and say, yeah, I'm probably out too. I'm just going to stick in Europe and America and, do what we've been doing for decades.
Status quo is quite attractive. Maintaining the status quo is quite attractive to most folks. And I don't...
Especially when it's not, not broken. Like things are going relatively well. Like the tournaments are fun. They're engaging. Right. Like
it's like
people care.
You're a bigwig, a baseball player, right? You're at the prime of your prime of your like 28. You're deciding whether you're going to sign like a giant ass contract with the fucking the Phillies, and some Korean team comes and says, "Hey, we're gonna we'll match the salary plus add an extra couple milli on it."
Yeah.
Like if as a baseball player, you're gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna go play in this Korean league. I want to stay in my home with my family.
Yeah.
And sure, you have more money to offer, but
there's
the
plenty
MLB
of money here.
is the fucking MLB. Similarly, I think that the PGA's brand is a lot. Well, it's not even in the same conversation as this PGL. Like nobody knows who the fucking PGL is.
Yeah. So I think
that's obsolescence.
That's what ultimately will.
To this.
Yeah. That's what will ultimately make this thing not a thing, is the fact that these guys are making millions upon millions and millions and millions of dollars. There's the FedEx Cup at the end of the year where all the best players are playing for a $10 million prize if they play well all year. We have the WGC, the World Golf Championship, which works in association with the PGA Tour, which is not PGA Tour events.
And that's
completely
this weekend,
different tour. Yeah, and so that's what we're looking at this weekend. They're going to Mexico City. They're playing a golf tournament that's not PGA related. You don't get FedEx Cup points. You don't get anything. but top players play there because the purses are big and it's entertaining. The WGC also is famous for the match play tournament that happens every year. It's in Austin. They provide a perfect change of pace for the golfers, for the people that play on the PGA Tour, and that's why they aren't looking for anything else. The schedule's about as perfect as it gets for guys competing for major golf championships, and that's what the golfers want to do. That's how they're ranked. That's what Tiger's after right now. That's what everybody wants to do, is win major golf championships. That's why Rory plays. That's why Jordan plays. That's why Tiger plays. They all want to win majors. And if you go to the PGL, you take yourself out of the Masters. You take yourself out of the U.S. Open. You're not a PGA golfer, and in order to participate in those tournaments, you have to be on the PGA Tour. So,
all right. So who's your pick this weekend in Mexico City?
So I have 2 picks. My favorite, I'm going Justin Thomas. I just think that guy's electric. He didn't play last week, so he's rested, and he's going to go down there and just light it up. He's always a safe pick. I think it's under 10-1, somewhere around there. So if you're a smart money guy, put it on JT. You can't ever go wrong with him. A long shot, if you're trying to maximize your value, there's a kid named Colin Morikawa. He's 20 years old. He's in that Matthew Wolff, Victor Hovland sort of realm where they just kind of, showed up on tour and literally have the most confidence of all time and have been striping golf balls and making putts. He played great at Riviera, which is hard to do, especially on Sunday. I think he had a top 15 finish. He's going to break through at some point, and this tournament is kind of the perfect tournament for him to show up. The course is long, which he can hit it long, and it requires a great short game, which he has. Colin Morikawa, if you're a betting man, he's plus 4,000, or woman, betting man or woman, plus 4,000. If you're a DraftKings guy, he's probably relatively cheap, so I highly recommend sprinkling him in when that budget gets low, because he will definitely be around on Sunday.
Okay, just put my life savings on him, so hopefully you're not leading me astray.
Well, if I do, sorry. Who's your guy?
Webb Simpson, baby.
Webb Simpson.
Mr. Wonderbread himself.
Mr. Hybrid in the bag. The common man.
We were looking at the favorites, and obviously you have a little bit more, just a touch more golf knowledge than
I thought you were a scratch golfer, bro.
Huh?
Scratch golfer.
Yeah, but I'm like the Brooks Koepka, I love playing
jacked,
golf,
dude.
But yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm wearing this fucking shirt. Too bad the camera's off because they can just see these fucking guns.
Yeah, the camera video vlog thing.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So I'm going Cooch or Webb Simpson. I think that's the move.
Cooch or Webb Simpson?
You got 2 picks, so I'm going.
2 electric
Oh, come
athletes.
on, you can't dislike Kuchar.
Yeah, I can.
Why?
He's a cheap fuck.
How?
You didn't hear about the
he
Mexico story?
didn't
What are you talking about?
tip some folks.
So his caddy is sick or his back pain when they go to Mexico last year. So he gets the local club caddy on a squad. They agree to like a $5,000 pay. No matter what, you're gonna get $5,000, right?
Great money.
So Kuchar goes out and he wins a fucking golf tournament, makes $1 million. Mm-hmm. The standard.
So we didn't pay him his $5,000.
Shut up. The standard caddy fee is 10% of your winnings.
Mm-hmm.
He wins a golf tournament, $1 million plus bucks. Matt Kuchar, he's been around for literally ever. Just doesn't want to pay this guy the 10%. Just bring him a little change, dude. I'm gonna be a dick about it.
In addition to the $5,000 you paid him to carry around a golf bag for 4 days. Just for clarification.
If you're gonna side with Matt Kuchar here, that's fine. That's on record for you.
Playing devil's advocate.
If you want to be
I do it
on the side of the man. See, I'm a little guy. I appreciate the struggle. I appreciate the fight. I appreciate the common man. You seem to prescribe to the global elites.
You are insufferable sometimes, and this is one of those times. I swear to God. Common man, my ass. Can we talk about Liverpool for a second? Speaking of common man.
Yeah, anytime you want.
How was that L taste?
So Liverpool played in the round of 16 Champions League round today, 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was yesterday. My bad. 2 p.m.
Yep.
Atletico Madrid's strong Spanish squad.
They're fine.
They have a pretty strong history of competing with Real and Barcelona. They're
third best in La Liga. Just for clarification.
Yeah, third best in La Liga, probably somewhere in there.
Playing the first best team out of the EPL. Sure.
So They're a strong squad. They had a game plan.
Sure.
The Reds, the boys, they show up to Madrid, which is notoriously a difficult place to play. It's loud. The fans are passionate, rightfully so. They got a great team in Atletico.
But y'all overcame that as the best team in the EPL, right?
They managed
Rose to the occasion?
They managed to score early.
Liverpool did.
And then no, Atletico did. And then they
okay.
parked the bus. Liverpool dominated possession over 70% possession, and Liverpool for the first time in over a year could not manage a goal. It happens. It's about time it happened. Honestly, we hadn't been held scoreless in like a fucking full calendar year. It's an incredible run that we're on. Luckily, losing 1-0 in the first leg of a Champions League knockout round is like the least big deal of all time. If you retract to last year, we were down 4-0 against Barcelona, which, Jesse, can you help me out here? Barcelona, Lionel Messi is pretty good, right? You've heard of that guy?
Yeah.
One of the best players in the world.
Sure.
So we're down 4-0 in the first leg. We have to go to Anfield, and we have to win. Actually, we have to go to we're away, so we have to go to Barcelona, and we have to play these fucks. We have to beat them. And you know what we did, Jesse? We came back from 4-0. It was the greatest comeback in Champions League history. So we're down 1-0 in the round of 16. I think.
Dude, I like to live in the present.
and we're going home to Anfield. We're going to fucking Anfield. Are you kidding me? Well, that's why I'm educating you. I'm educating you because you're coming in hot with these Liverpool takes where you're like, oh, they lost 1-0 in the first round of the round of 16. 1-0? Give me a fucking break. We'll win 3-1 in like a month. We got some Premier League shit to...
Wait, we have to wait a fucking month?
It's fucking Champions League, yeah.
You have to wait a month for the next fucking game?
Well, there's Premier League games going on.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Dude, we have to play the Premier... I don't know if you know this, but we're like 80 million points up in Premier League, so we have to finish that. And then you go play Champions League. You fucking beat Atletico 3-1 at Anfield. You fucking embarrass them. People forget about that soft game.
And then what? You wait another
yesterday.
month to play again?
No, then it picks up pretty quick. I think the finals in like August or something. So
it's February 19th.
It's
February 19th.
It's a long time.
I have to wait 4 fucking months.
This is why you're a simplistic American. Dude.
Oh my god.
So this is not the intramural championships, dude.
I thought we would get to watch this game like next week or something. I thought it'd be tomorrow.
Yeah, so essentially back to Liverpool. They did lose yesterday, but who gives a shit because they're the best team in the world and they will come back and dunk all over everything that is good and holy.
Mixing up your sports there. You don't dunk in soccer. I don't know if you know this, but...
Jesse.
Ryan.
You're pissing me off right now.
Please stop.
And we come from Liverpool. Ole, ole, ole.
I'm going to chunk your fucking phone out of your
Welcome back
apartment.
to the pod. This is our closing thoughts, our closing segment. Jesse, as our resident hothead, hot take expert, Houston, I guess, what's the word you want to call it? Just all around
Masochist?
depressive kind of
Fuck.
Yeah, I guess that's a decent word for it. How do you feel about the state of the Houston Astros this week?
What did I tell you last week? It's only going to get worse before it gets better.
And it sure did get worse.
It got worse. In the 7 days since we last recorded, every single big name around baseball has basically gotten in front of a mic and called the Astros cheating bastards, which they are, criticized Major League Baseball's mishandling of the controversy, and called for the stripping of the Astros 2017 World Series title.
Rightfully so.
Ryan, do you think that Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, who we're both big fans of,
Very critical of this man.
do you think he handled that well?
No, he handled this thing about as bad as you could
The
possibly
motherfucker says, I
motherfucker
don't understand the significance of this, quote, piece of metal.
That was the most out of touch thing he could have possibly
And it seems
said.
a little elementary to strip them of said piece of metal.
So this guy is unfit for his role. he doesn't understand like the significance of that quote piece of metal. Like that's what everybody's playing for. That's the point of the league. And to call it that and to demean it, it just proves how out of touch he is with baseball climate.
Sir, resign, sir.
Sir,
Holy
resign. Sure.
Shit,
You are
Rob.
unfit, sir.
What are you doing, Rob? What are you doing, Rob? And I thought, like, okay, well, Mike Trout spoke out, and Mike Trout's the face of baseball. That we should put you could tie this in a knot, tie in a bow. That's pretty much all you need to know is that Mike Trout is literally I would say gaslighting, but that has a negative connotation. But like rightfully dissing the fucking Astros for being cheating fucks. Then
anytime Mike Trout speaks out and it's a soundbite that's more than like 10 seconds,
you done goofed.
You done goofed.
You done
goofed.
Astros. LeBron James, perhaps the most famous athlete in the world, comes out on Twitter last night, recording this Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock, and says, basically, I'm a big sports guy, big sports fan, I'm a competitor. If something like this happened to me, I would be fucking pissed. And basically said, strip them of the title. They don't deserve it. Which they don't, frankly. They don't deserve it. But the fact that LeBron had to weigh in just broke my heart, because now anybody who had somehow been living in an echo chamber devoid of any baseball knowledge, information, content, they're now in the know and informed about how the Astros are cheating fucks in Major League Baseball is literally a dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. Just a total shit show. It's embarrassing. I'm not gonna I went on my rant last week. I'm not gonna fucking rant about it. It sucks. What I want to talk about is that a book, I think William Hill, a sports book, put an over-under on the number of Astros to get hit by pitches this season. Last season, the Astros got hit by 41 pitches. League average is something like 65, and the sportsbook set the over-under at 83.5 batters to be hit by pitches. I, for one, am going to hammer the fucking over. Hammer the over. And Manfred's come out and said basically if you being an Astros player, you're gonna face repercussions, fines, suspensions, yada yada yada. So it's not gonna stop anyone.
So Manfred is gonna punish those taking justice into their own hands.
Right.
More than he's gonna punish.
Baseball doesn't want vigilantes.
Those cheating fucks.
We don't want fucking vigilantes in the league.
It's got to be super depressing for you that your team is the biggest villain in professional sports that we've seen in decades.
No, I'm great, dude. I actually was on the phone with my dad driving up to your apartment today, and he told me that my mother, one of the biggest Astros fans that I know, she's out, man. She's done. She's fucking out. And the fact that Kathy Brackeen, shout out mom, is...
that Kathy was C or K?
With K. She's out in the Astros, and I think my mom is a good sort of voice for like the common Astros fan. Yeah. And the fact that she's out, I don't fucking blame her one bit. I can't see a future where I'm going to quit on this team. Insert, is it Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain saying, I just can't quit you?
I just can't quit you.
I'm Gyllenhaal. Astros are
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. Yeah. So that's baseball. It's depressing. I'm sad.
You should be, dude.
I'm sad.
You should be ashamed.
I didn't cheat.
Yeah,
I just rooted for a cheating team.
You should be heartbroken is what you should be.
I am. Wrap it up. Parting thoughts.
Parting thoughts for me. I mean, you just said it best. The big story of the week is the Astros. It's tough that Major League Baseball is in the spotlight and has nothing to do with like the play or how they're fixing the game or how they're drawing more people to the sport. You have to think that baseball will continue to diminish in product because of these cheating fucks.
The hype machine around baseball is at an all-time high, but unfortunately when folks who typically don't watch baseball tune in on opening day and realize that it's much of the same in terms of slow pace of play and some serious problems that are plaguing baseball, they're going to immediately tune out. And it's just like a lose-lose situation for Major League Baseball.
Baseball has a lot of work on their hands as we enter a new decade to rejuvenize the sport and kind of insert this new sort of excitement and player marketing. And the people that are standing in the way of baseball the most is the baseball executive leadership themselves. And if they don't look in the mirror, slap themselves in the face, and be like, all right, let's change the entire thing really, really quickly,
Rob Manfred in the face?
Then it's not going to go anywhere. And unfortunately, a guy like Manfred, who's a fucking idiot, is in charge. I mean, this is a league that won't even let people reproduce their clips on social media. So they're so out of touch. They're naive. They think that they live in this bubble where they can just like do whatever they want, give people free passes, give entire franchises free passes. But they're getting called out on a massive level. I hope the players continue to call everybody out. It's been pretty big name guys that are being outspoken. So I hope that continues as we approach opening day. And yeah, I want baseball to succeed. It's America's pastime. It doesn't deserve to go down like this. So I hope that fuck Manfred can. Just
not be such a fuck.
Wake up, where the people around him can be like, all right, see you, dude.
Wake up, sheeple.
So with that being said, that is another week on Sycamore 223. Next week we'll be back, same time, same place. Looking forward to it.
Me too. An hour and a half of Bachelor talk coming at you. Before we go, quick addendum to last week. I did not shout out my sister for introducing me to this wonderful, wonderful fucking show.
I thought we were gonna get. We've gone for an hour 45.
Megan,
with no Bachelor,
thank you for thinking. You're in my fucking head now. I was trying to thank my little sister. You can't let me finish my fucking parting thought. It's my parting thought, dude.
For introducing you to The Bachelor?
And also letting me steal her Patagonia. It's very comfortable. Thank you, Megan. We'll see you next week.
Well, my buckle makes impressions on the inside of her thigh. There are little feathered Indians where we tussle through the night. If I'd known she was religious, then I wouldn't have came stoned to the house of such an angel.